How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike the Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'll give more effort than we did most of that game against Baltimore. So it doesn't mean a lot. Like, it's not like it has to be a lot of effort to be more, but I'll get in above them. I don't know how high above them, but like Brendan obviously is giving Cowboys versus Saints level effort. So I'll be above that.
Shots fired at our guy Brendan. Mike, where can we find you on X?
At CD Pig. I don't even know why he's out, by the way. I didn't even hear from him. So I just talking shit. He could be like in the hospital. I don't even know. But CD Pig
still having technical difficulties with his internet, apparently. So
I don't believe him. This sounds like
he should be back next week. But speaking of Brendan, unfortunately, the conductor of the Jake Ferguson hype train, Brendan Fergie Smith, couldn't join us tonight, again, due to technical difficulties. But make sure to follow him on X at Brendan_Smith26. I am Paul Ryan. You can find me on X at Paul_Ryan15. Here we are after another embarrassing Cowboys loss, giving the Cowboys a 1-2 record for the season. Now, these games are never fun to talk about and evaluate, but it must be done. Now, usually this is the part where we discuss Meatless Monday, and we will be discussing Meatless Monday. However, this will be the last Meatless Monday for this season. Because of how the Cowboys season is going and how I'm predicting the season will play out, we're going to be starting up the show with a new segment starting next week. So for one last time, Mike, what was on the menu today?
Wait, what's going to be the new segment? I don't even get to know ahead of time? I thought Oh, man. Honestly, one of the reasons it's good to cut Meatless Monday is it's just been so busy. It's hard to, I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch, y'all. What do you want from me? I'm doing a bunch of stuff. I got a trip to Disney World in 6 weeks, and we're going to flip this to that talk. I'll go to Disneyland whenever the hell I want this season. Y'all ain't telling me nothing about a jinx. We're not even competitive. So I don't want to hear that this year. If I want to stay an extra day and miss one of these stupid games, I'm going to miss them because this team is going to get walked on another 5-6 times this year anyway. So, but yeah, I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch around noon, and for dinner before I came on, I made some garlicky pasta stuff. Nothing exciting, unfortunately. I just don't have time.
Mike, are you team strawberry, team grape? Where are you at? What jelly do you like?
I'm grape. I'm not a strawberry person, and I don't really like strawberry shortcake too much. I'm not really a strawberry person. Not that I don't eat it, but it's not like what I go to. I just had some crepes on Saturday or Sunday morning, and I did huckleberries, which are basically like blueberries. What's up, Frankie? And I like that. I like more blueberries. I like grape. I like orange marmalade. I'm not much of a strawberry person.
My Nana, she always had blackberry in the fridge, and while I liked it with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or on toast with butter, I remember we were just talking about it one day, and she said that as a kid she ate so much strawberry she got sick of it, so that's why she never had it in the house.
Yeah, strawberry and peanut butter I don't feel like that's a good combo. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I don't really like strawberries that much. That could be why.
Are you a big Uncrustables guy?
I used to eat those a lot. I would get the grape one, but it's just cost-wise, like a cheap loaf of bread and some peanut butter and jelly. You're paying a lot for the little stuff, so cost-wise, it didn't make sense to continue to get them and put them in the freezer or refrigerator or wherever.
I've actually never had one, but I've heard that, especially in the freezer, I heard that they are like an elite snack.
They're good. Yeah, they are. It's a cost. Is it worth getting them if you could just make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? That's basically it.
Apparently on Amazon, you can buy the thing where you put the bread in there and it'll turn it into an Uncrustable for you. So, for anybody out there listening that likes Uncrustables but wants to save a few bucks.
That's cool. I don't mind that at all. Sell them. Sell your own Uncrustables.
Hey, there you go. There you go. All right, Mike, it's not going to be a fun discussion tonight. I know we'll try to at least have fun talking about it. What's funny about this is here we are, year 5, doing the show, you and I, Mike, and it's kind of fitting that it's me and you again tonight, but it's just weird how this season is like eerily reminiscent of that 2020 season. Am I crazy?
No, it is, because the defense is really bad. And if you look back at, it feels like the team has COVID.
Wow.
They're man, we'll talk about it. We'll get into it as the questions come in. It's not good.
Well, let's just get after it, Mike. Did coaching decisions cost us this game?
It depends on what you mean. If you mean like in-game coaching decisions, like why'd we go for 2 or why'd we onside, then no. Like they dominated us the whole game, and they just kind of were like, okay, this team's not in our league. We don't have to just run cover 2 all day. We're fine. When we need to, we'll run the ball for a first down, and they're not going to stop us. So no, but if you're talking like, offensive game planning, play calling, I heard the practices were terrible. After the Saints game, you had a terrible week of practice. How is that even a thing?
How?
Like, that could be possible. That's a coaching thing. Like, yes, players need to have character, but damn, if I'm a coach, if you think Bill Belichick would ever let a game like that happen, and you have a bad one practice, let alone a week of practice, crazy. So yes, in terms of like macro view, but of in-game view, no, they got punked. That's the coaching decisions don't have nothing to do with it when you get your ass beat for 3 quarters.
Man, hearing that we had a bad week of practice, that just makes this loss even worse. Like you said, how does that even happen? I wonder what's going on there. Do you have any insight on that?
No, they just said that 2 or 3 different people, Dak was saying that people weren't doing what they were doing and being where they were supposed to be. And Mike McCarthy said they played like they practiced and they had a bad week. And I just, to me, I'm sitting there going, after your home opener, you got destroyed. You had a bad week of practice. Like that, I can't even, like, that's just not a thing I can imagine happening.
That's insane, man. I really, really hate to hear that. That says a whole lot without saying very much. Is this loss on the offense or the defense?
Defense. I got to give it to the defense. Now, the offense had some stuff that didn't help. Like, they had some issues, but overall, the defense, I mean, they get the ball right down on your face, touchdown, 2 straight times, and by the second time, it's like deflating. It's like letting the air out of the balloon. Like, the crowd's out. I'm sure a lot of the players, maybe not a Dak Prescott, maybe not a Zach Martin, but a lot of like young players, when you get on a quicksand thing like that and it carries over the next week, it's like, damn, we can't do anything. And I felt like it got 14-3 even before the CD fumble. I felt like, man, this thing's over. Like, they're just going to get steamrolled. And it was rough. It was gross. So defense 80%, offense 20%.
Easily the defense. I would agree with you there. But it's just crazy. As bad as we played for those 3 quarters, I was so stupid enough to think that we had a chance to win that game yesterday.
Ravens are like the ultimate team of giving up leads. Like, they've given up so many leads in the 4th quarter. I just don't understand why they go so conservative with their play calling and their defensive schemes and everything. Like, I get saving it, but man, you're in week 3, you're 0-2. Like, you should be trying to stomp out Dallas, and they didn't. They just thought, we got this team. They're done.
Well, Kyle Hamilton, he missed like the last part of the 4th quarter, most of the 4th quarter, right?
I didn't even notice. For me, I had it on because I'm doing an article and I'm trying to like decide if I want to put, studs and duds, who's at least playing well enough to like get a mention and everything.
Yeah.
But by that time, I'm like, I don't mind him taking out Kyle. Like, why play him? Why, if they need to rest him, if he has anything wrong at all, take him out. Like, you were killing us. So,
yeah, I don't remember if it was because of injury. I thought he got banged up for some reason. Don't quote me on that, but I do remember him leaving the game towards the end there, and we saw the impact that he did have. Of course, like you said, the Ravens weren't really trying after like halftime, but. Maybe something to look out for any Ravens fan. I'm curious as to what happened there. Which side of the ball played worse in your eyes? Was it the defense pretty easily, or does the offense deserve some blame there as well?
You know what's funny is I'm gonna switch this to offense, but the reason is expectation. Like we kind of expected, Baltimore is going to run it down our throats. Like everybody picked Baltimore to win before we played the Saints. Yeah. So they played bad. They played worse. But expectation-wise, like you didn't expect CD to fumble and have a couple of drops and pout. And we had so many mistimed penalties, like when we were moving the ball, and if we couldn't get any separation. The play calling, like the motion rate was in the 20%. Like it's 2024. What offenses are you watching where that works? Like that type of offense doesn't work in the NFL anymore. Like it just is what it is. You got to move around. You got to do stuff. So I'm gonna switch it up to offense because they're just asking Dak to do everything. It's ridiculous. Like you can't run, you can't pass block, your receivers can't get open. Your main guy is fumbling and dropping passes. Like it's basically one dude. And I know there's games like the last week where he throws into double coverage when the game's over. He's trying to force CD. He throws an interception. Then everybody oh yeah, see, Dak lost the game. He threw an interception. This one he didn't even have a turnover. Like he was
close though. Let's be honest. He almost had two.
Oh yeah, where he dropped the ball and everything. Yeah, like that kind of stuff. But I'm talking like throwing the ball. He didn't really, the one.
Well, Brandon Cooks saved one, right?
Oh yeah. Brandon Cooks did pull our Darius Washington down. Shout out Jeff Kavanaugh. Darius Washington played a lot. Was playing CD Lamb 1-on-1. And they were just like, here, you go guard him, and in the slot, and was just balling with them. So, yeah, I didn't expect that from CD. That was surprising.
It's funny. It's like the Ravens came out with a purpose, did whatever they wanted, and they're like, yeah, we got this game. And then the Cowboys just waited forever to wake up, and then they still, I don't know, it's like, like we've already said this time, like the Ravens just kind of let them come back, and when they needed to make a play, they just made it without any sort of difficulty.
Yeah, when it came down to it and they needed the first downs, they got it on Diggs with the pass versus man coverage, and then just ran it twice, easy first down. There was no they didn't even get him to to a third on the last one.
Yeah, they did because they converted that third down for the first.
No, I meant the last the after they got that. It didn't even take them to get another third down. They just got a first down on second down. Like it wasn't like they made them have one more play. It was once they got that first to Diggs is like, okay. And they got him with the same fake play they ran on the first play of the game. Like the same play worked on you.
Yeah. Kind of sticking with the offense, we'll go off the show sheet here, Mike. But do you think with the offense, is it Schottenheimer? Is it McCarthy? Is it a combination of both? Would a change at OC or head coach make a big difference with this offense, or how big of a difference do you think it would make?
I think because he's the play caller, you got to go with Mike McCarthy because like he sets up the game plan with Schottenheimer and then he picks out the plays and calls them, and so it's got to be on him. Like they have to do. Last year started out the same way. Then they went into the bye week and they were like, come on, dude, we got to. And then that's when it picked up. But to have a whole year in the offense and have it come out like it is, and I understand that they've moved the ball well, But when it comes down to it, they have a penalty or a thing that shuts down their momentum, and it's just too much hard work. Like you have to run the route perfect, block it perfect, throw it into coverage. It was 35% of Dak's throws were tight window throws. That's an insane number. You know how much of Lamar Jackson's 12 passes completed were tight window?
10%.
Zero.
My goodness.
None. He did not throw one tight window pass.
It's ridiculous. It's crazy. I'm looking at the Cowboys. Of course, I know that we've got some injuries and we've got the, rookies on the offensive line and stuff. But I look at this offense and then I look at what Brock Purdy did yesterday with Juwan Jennings and, no George Kittle, no Christian McCaffrey against a good Rams team. You know what I mean? I'm like, and then you look at what Matthew Stafford did with his weapons, bro, against the San Francisco defense. It's like, how?
What do both of those guys have? What do both those teams have?
Creative coaching. It's
Bingo.
Insane, dude.
Bingo. And the thing about it is, look at Minnesota. Same thing. Sam Darnold. Yeah. The Texans, I know they lost, but they had a rookie quarterback and Bobby Slowick and crushed.
Green Bay Packers and Malik Willis.
Yeah, Green Bay, David LaFleur, Malik Willis. He was a complete bust of a quarterback. Got in that system, they're beating down everybody. Like that you being able to set up your quarterbacks for success by giving them easy throws and getting people open. Some plays, I understand that some plays are going to be, you just got to beat your guy. Well, you got a CeeDee Lamb for that. You got a CeeDee Lamb for that. You got a Ferguson for that. You can do that. But 80% of the time in those offenses, Hurts, Purdy, those guys know, like, okay, I'm going to look at, if they do this, I know where I'm going. Like, it's set up for me. This guy's going to get open because of these things happening. And if they jump that, then they're opening this up. And they know going in, look for these two things. And then if neither of them work, then we can figure something out. But they know going in, all right, I'm probably going to have one or two easy reads and easy throws going into a play if the defense isn't played absolutely perfectly. Dallas doesn't have that. Dallas they just don't.
So, I know that scheme and play calling is an issue, but a common thought yesterday in the chat was that this team is void of tackles on the offensive line. It's void of a competent wide receiver too in a running game. How much would better talent help this scheme?
Well, yeah, that's the thing about the McCarthy scheme is it works if you have great talent across the board. If you have an offensive line that could block up everything, then you're going to run well and you're going to have time in the pocket. And if you have weapons, they can beat their guys. Like that's basically it's a line up and beat you team. Like
Jason Garrett.
Yeah, line up and that's what the Jones family wants. That's what they don't want trick plays as they call them, which is just motion. So if they had more talent, it would help the scheme a lot. But that's just not the time we live in right now. Like your talent is going to decrease when you're paying the quarterback and Lamb and Micah and stuff like that. Like you can get plenty of guys, but there are going to be, some players where you have, we have a bunch of stars. This is just a guy, but that's enough because we'll get creative and we'll do stuff to help them out,
Yeah. So is this team even fixable, Mike, at this point?
I don't know if it is with this front office. I just think it all starts, the defense especially. It all starts with the DTs can be single blocked. Basically, the whole D line can be single blocked because the edge is done differently with crackbacks and stuff like that, But they don't have anybody you have to double team on the line. So the linebackers, I don't care how fast and and quick they trigger and how good they are. Like Fred Warner is going to struggle if he plays behind this defensive line. Like it just is what it is. Offensive linemen are going to be up on his level too often. So I don't know if the defense is fixable. If we're talking like, Detroit, San Francisco, Philly, the team, Pittsburgh could be a tough one. All those teams that are going to run the ball and not take risks and make you tackle them and stop them, they're going to be a problem.
You look at this defensive line. I mean, with the additions of Jordan Phillips, we thought he was going to help. He goes on IR. Linval Joseph didn't have a training camp. He's, getting into football shape. But is it as simple as without Mike Zimmer, this defense would be better, or is it still a wait and see process for you?
For me, it's a talent issue. I think Zimmer's fine. Zimmer's been a great defensive coordinator for years and years and years in the league. He just, if you don't have any DTs to clog up rush lanes, and a team can run 45 of their 60 plays the way Baltimore did for 274 yards, you're cooked. You're cooked going in.
So what are your thoughts on Mozzie at this point?
He's played the best of our DTs. Like he may be up there with Osa, but they're both bad right now.
Yeah.
It's just everyone else is worse. So yeah, you basically a team that drafted and develops took a player that wasn't ready to go. Not that he won't be eventually. He may not. But DT takes a while to develop, so I'd give him more time before I just said, he can't play in the league.
Yeah.
But he definitely wasn't ready to be a huge contributor this year. And they just said, well, we used the first-round pick on him, so he's got to play. Instead of like, well, you know what? At best, he's got to develop. So we better get people in so that we can limit his play now until he is ready to be that guy. And they waited too long to do that. They got guys that are not NFL caliber players anymore.
So how far away for you is this defensive line from being competent competitive?
Tank and Micah will always play well, play hard. They'll do their jobs. And Osa is a solid 3 technique. They need 2 more playable bodies on the interior. They need a starting nose tackle, and they need somebody who can come in and fill the role of DT when somebody needs a rest. And not just Tank moving down in a pass rush snap. But Osa, it's first down, and Osa needs a breather. Who are you putting in? Like, you don't have the horses.
I got you. So only 2. I thought you were going to say probably a year away, like a draft class away. So 2 is actually kind of encouraging. Maybe I'm crazy for thinking that.
Well, they won't pay for them. Like Dallas Jones not going to go out and get the 2 that you need. Like you need to get 2 guys. This ain't even Jonathan Hankins and Britt Urban, who I love, both of those guys. This is not that. This is like DeForest Buckner. I won't say Chris Jones. I'm not going to go crazy or Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
Grover Stewart, DJ Reader, Javon Hargrave, who just got hurt for the year. That sucks for him and the Niners. But it's got to be it's a dude, a badass dude.
So I know that we were happy to see the Dallas, just addressing the defensive line regardless of when it was, but now looking back, I mean, Linval Joseph, Jordan Phillips, were those just like you said? I guess it sounds like you don't think those guys can play anymore. No,
it was throwing shit on the wall and hoping, and it didn't work out. They did the wrist thing with Jordan Phillips because he couldn't play. Like, we're just going to put him on IR because he can't play. Like, at least Linval Joseph can hold up straight ahead. He just can't move laterally. If he has to move a gap at all, he's dead. Phillips couldn't even do that. He was getting one-on-one blocked 8 yards into the friggin' backfield.
So do you have any, speaking of Jordan Phillips, do you have any additional insight on that whole situation where, they put him on IR, then he goes on X, aka Twitter, and says there's nothing wrong with his wrist and that he's healthy and stuff. Do you have any additional info on maybe that situation?
Word is he was favoring his wrist, but believed he could play through it. And they were like, look how you're playing, dude. Like, clearly you need to do something, like go get healed up or something, because this is horrible. So they took a thing on a wrist that was, playable on, but was bothering him in their eyes, and said, we're going to put you on IR because you're not playable right now. So you might as well heal up and see what happens in 4 or 6 weeks.
Okay. So, cause see, when I heard about him going on IR, and then he goes to Twitter to talk about how he's not injured, I thought it was some sort of like shady kind of stuff going on. So at least there was, they actually were looking out for him, thinking that maybe he'd be better if he did, take some time off.
I'm sure there's a little bit of shade, because how many players as an organization, if they came to you and was like, no, I'm good, it hurts, but I'm good, I could play through it. Like if Lamb did that right now, they ain't going, hey, Lamb, go on IR. Like, obviously, part of it was that he stunk. And like, we need to get a roster spot, so let's put him on there. But he did. It wasn't just like they made up an injury. His wrist has been a problem.
I got you. Looking at this coaching staff, looking at this team, is it more of a talent issue or character issue?
Man, it is both, because they didn't do a good job. There's not enough talent in a few areas of the room, and the talent is too young in a few areas of the room. Like the O-line's gonna be good, but like if they'd have kept Tyron Smith for another year, it probably would have helped Guyton to build behind him, play 4 or 5 games when Tyron goes down, and then build, and then it would have been BB as your only rookie, and you'd have had the other 4 guys. We've seen what Steele, now that you have to worry about Guyton so much, you can't like lean towards helping Steele, and he's just getting killed. He's terrible. So talent is a problem, but there is a mentality issue on this team. Like, to come in high off your horse after 1 win in Cleveland and just get your doors blown off in the home opener, and then all we hear is it was a bad practice, and then you get destroyed in the first half of the next game. Like, that's a mentality thing. That's a problem character-wise. So it's both. If you told me, I would fix the talent first, because I think, your talent can trump the character issues, especially when you have a leader like Dak. But character is definitely an issue too.
Hate to hear that. In regards to Steele, how much of his issues do you think can you attribute to the regression of Zach Martin?
I think the regression of Zach Martin is more the issue because he has a rookie to his left and a bad player to his right. I think Zach Martin's issue is more about having to worry all around him. Is the calls being made right? Or is he going to be able to hold up inside? On my right, he can't pass protect. He's always been poor, but it's gotten where he's regressed as a pass protector. So I think it's more around Zach lessens him than Zach being lessens the guys around him.
Got you. Yeah, that makes sense. I know we just kind of seen the decline a little bit of Zach Martin, but yeah, to your point, I mean, when you're playing next to an inexperienced guy and then playing next to a guy who was not that great to begin with and has kind of gotten worse the last 2 seasons, makes you look even worse. Has this team quit on the coaching staff?
We'll find out Thursday.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
If they
how we come out?
Yeah, how do we come out versus the Giants? Do they take it out on them? Like, do they beat them? Beat them down. Is it 34-13, or is it we're down 10-6 at half and we got a battle and we win it 24-17? Yeah. Then I would be more worried about, this team might quit on them against, going to Pittsburgh, Detroit, and then Niners. This might be a quitting scenario. But if they come out and win, 38-17, then I wouldn't think they quit.
forgive me for not knowing this, but I feel like you used to do this, but have you been doing game previews this season?
Yes, I do. What I call storylines.
Yeah.
And we just got it where my articles are kind of long, So the
Right.
boss just told me, instead of writing one long article, do 3 shorter ones. Gives me more material to put out to get, clicks on. It gives you more money, and it just is better all the way around. And I said, hey, fine with me, man. I'm up for it.
Well, I always read the ones that you send, that you text me, but I don't remember reading one that's like a preview of like the matchups and what to expect from, the Giants and things like that. You're not the Giants, but the Saints and the Ravens and the Browns.
I don't do that as much as like, okay, so my next one is going to be about offensive issues and how it's what the problem is right now.
Yeah.
And so it's not really a preview of the Giants, like, oh, here's this matchup to this matchup. I don't do that anymore. We have other newer writers that pick up that stuff, and I kind of do some other things, that I find for myself to be, I don't know how to put it because I don't want it to sound, but like, it's more advanced for me, in my opinion, than I had gotten to the point where I could just look and go, okay, well, Giants defensive line is gonna be tough. What does the offensive line do? Like it kind of started becoming like repetitive. Like, okay, I can find 3 things, boom, 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 articles out. Instead of trying to find, I'll only do one this week because the game's Thursday, but trying to find like 3 different things that you could push out there about, this upcoming game and some narratives that you want to get out there through an article.
I got you. Yeah, I've been enjoying the ones that you've been sending for sure. I do. For me, I enjoy like the shorter articles. Just I don't like to read an article that takes 5 to 10 minutes to read. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and mine were typically a good 5-minute ones. Like they took a minute to read. Yeah. Now, he kind of let me know, hey man, you do a lot of work per article. Don't work so hard, work smart. And I was like, yeah, that's fine with me, boss. Not many bosses are cool enough to be like, we want you to have 3 of these in a shorter form than 1 of these in a longer form. And I'm like, I'll take more money. Works for me.
Short form content does tend to dominate these days, Mike.
I'm getting good views now. With how we played the last 2 weeks, is probably going to be a slow, clicks week because people just don't want to think about us. But I had been doing well, so I think him wanting to get more of my traffic out there is also like he gets good looks. Let's get more of his stuff out with his name, and so hopefully, I mean that's great for me.
Yes, sir. Mike Crum, the Dallas Cowboys aficionado. Looking at the Cowboys, Mike, are Lamb's sideline outbursts becoming an issue?
It shouldn't be, but because it's in Dallas, it could be. It could end up being, because it's going to be all over the news. They're going to look at what they did with Dez when he was like supportive. When he was being supportive, but it was in a loud way, people were like shitting on him. So, yeah, the media will use that to turn half the fans against the players. Like we've seen it. We see it with Dak now. Like there was people after that game where he had no turnovers, threw over 300 yards, like at least attempted to have a pulse all 4 quarters. Like there was that. Well, that's what you get when you pay a mediocre quarterback $60 million. And I'm like, what in that game had anything to do with Dak Prescott? Like, I don't know what you want him to do. So yeah, it could be. It shouldn't, but it could be.
Yeah, I'll never forget the infamous sideline dispute between Terrell Owens and my goodness, what was this?
Witten?
Quarterback for the Eagles.
Oh, McNabb.
Donovan McNabb. And then a few series later, he has a long bomb to T.O., and then they kind of recreate it, just making fun of it. Winning is going to cure all, but I don't think it's becoming an issue. At the same time, it just seems like even if CeeDee Lamb is not having a good game, like, he had the fumble. He didn't have a good game yesterday, but he still felt the need to like complain about not getting the ball. Like, come on, man. You got, you got to have some self-awareness, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a Dak Lamb issue as much as I think Dak knows the issues with the scheme, but he's such a company guy. He doesn't like come out and say it or yell at the coach and everything. I think it's frustrating CeeDee Lamb that it's like, dude, everybody knows our plays. Everybody's right there. We got to like throw a perfect pass to get a first down. Like, it becomes frustrating to watch, the other team's guys run wide open all the time.
Man, Rashad Bateman in the end zone, dude. I mean, how much open can you get?
Wide. Like, we don't get that.
I like that isn't, I like thinking that CeeDee Lamb isn't necessarily mad at Dak for not getting him the ball, but it's more so knowing that their offense is so predictable. It's like, what are they expected to do?
Yeah, I just think he's frustrated within the offense with the style and the way it's called and the way it's ran. I think that frustrates him.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard not to get tricked by that second half or really that fourth quarter when you look at the Turpin play and you look at Ferguson having, some good plays and Tolbert and everything. But yeah, I think people like, I'm not throwing any shade at Foots the King, but he was saying how people were giving up on the season and we only lost to the Ravens by 3, but in actuality we got blown out early.
Yeah, Foots is my guy. I love Foots, but he's a very, very positive. He likes to, no matter what, stay on the very, very positive side of the Dallas thing. And then it just is what it is. Like he was asking last week, what was 2 weeks ago? What did the Joneses do wrong this offseason? And I'm like, it depends on what you mean. Do you mean as like to be an actual contender? Like they needed to go out and get a real DT, not like just fillers with old names. They could have went out and got another weapon, whether it be a running back or a wide receiver, And I'm like, because eventually, great, you beat Cleveland, but eventually you're going to run into San Francisco and Detroit and Green Bay and these teams, that it's going to take a real effort to play against. And then they got trounced by the Saints and Baltimore back to back, and it's like, yeah, you didn't have the guys.
Yeah, Detroit's so scary, dude. Their defense is so much improved, and then their offense hasn't even really like clicked yet. And to think that when we face them, my God, man,
Goff is so limited that if you could get them to have to pass, you can beat Detroit. Same as Philly, same as Philadelphia. Same as a lot of talented teams with Pittsburgh. If you get them to throw, you got them. The problem is Dallas. How many teams can they make throw?
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I know their run game is just absolutely disgusting, so you don't even have to ask Goff to do too much in that offense with the way it's set up. But yeah, you probably got a point. I know golf. A lot of people maybe haven't started buying into Goff being better than maybe as advertised there in Los Angeles. But we'll see what happens. How confident are you in this team moving forward?
None. As a contender, zero. They're not. They can't hang with Detroit or San Francisco, even beat up San Francisco. Any team that could physically run the ball is going to destroy them. And it's going to be asked too much on the quarterback because you have no way to I liked how Rico played last week against a very good Baltimore run defense. I thought if the game was close, Rico would have had a game where we were like, okay, there's our guy, Right. But he never had a chance to because we couldn't run the ball in the second half. But yeah, I think it as a contender, they're cooked.
So how many games do you think we win? Do you think we'll win 6 or more games?
Yeah, they're still so talented. I wouldn't be shocked if they competed for the division. Because if they beat the Giants, say they beat the Giants and they beat Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh's quarterback's not great, right? Lose to Detroit, lose to San Francisco, Atlanta, you can beat Kirk Cousins. They're not an over crazy run team. Their defense isn't great. Houston's not a running team. They got to throw, and you could put some points up on them. That it's possible they win that. Philly, both Philly games, they could get blown out by their run, or if they're able to hold up, Jalen Hurts is a turnover machine right now. He's the only reason him and Sirianni, him early, and then he started to play really well, to give Hurts his credit. Turnovers early kept Saints in the game, and then he played well, and his friggin' coach kept holding him back. They should have blown out the Saints. But in the division, Dak's always good. The team normally plays well. They know what's coming. They're going to know more. So you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could see another 8, 9 wins from this team, even though I have no confidence in them, because my confidence is about what happens when you play Green Bay, Detroit, San Francisco, any of those teams, you're going to get run through.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie, man. I wouldn't be shocked if we won 7 games this year.
For the first time, I believe that it's possible that Dak could go under 500, and he never has. But this is the first team I think it's possible.
When you look at the next 4 games on our schedule, outside of the Giants, do you see us winning any of them?
Ooh, okay. Winnable, I had Pittsburgh and Atlanta. Detroit and San Francisco are going to maul us. They're going to be both blowouts.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh and Atlanta are winnable. Will we? I don't know. I honestly don't know if they can go into Pittsburgh and stop that running attack, even with Najee Harris out. If they can make Justin Fields throw, they could win. Because I think Dak will still get points, even on a great Steelers defense. Dak's just that good. He'll put up some points. But I don't know if they can stop the run.
Yeah, man. I have no confidence that they'll win any of the next 4 games. I guess Pittsburgh might be the one that I could be like, let's say we beat the Giants and then we go to Pittsburgh kind of feeling better about ourselves. I think Justin Fields has been solid. He hasn't been great, but with their defense, their run game, and then Justin Fields playing better, I don't think Pittsburgh's like a team where we're just going to walk on.
I don't know if I'll pick them, even with extra time, but my thought process is you might be able to get a turnover or 2 out of Fields. And if you could do that, you can beat them.
You force them to throw type of thing?
Yeah, force them to throw. Diggs gets a pick and maybe a strip sack from Micah. Fields, the one thing Fields still does, he holds the ball too long. He did it in college. He's done it his whole NFL career. And you can't hold the ball too long with Micah coming.
Yeah, agreed. Could Mike McCarthy, Mike Zimmer, or both be fired during the bye week when you look at the way the schedule's lined up?
I don't think both will. I think they'd either fire McCarthy and move up Zimmer and let Harris be the DC, or they'd keep Mike McCarthy, fire Zimmer, and let Harris be the DC. So I think that would be the plan. One of them would go, but not both.
What would be your preference there? Probably keeping Zimmer and letting Mike walk?
Yeah, because but Schottenheimer is going to be the play caller then. Like if they had some kind of younger mind, I would like that more.
Right. I wonder, could Schottenheimer, what if he was a scapegoat and they fired him? Who would step up as OC?
They'd put anybody in there because the OC is actually Mike McCarthy.
I got you.
So they'd put any name in there. I got to plug my there we go. Okay. I'm afraid it's going to Jeff Kavanaugh on me.
Yeah, what's funny to think about is like when we had Garrett, at least, Garrett and Linehan, at least we had a Kellen Moore in the background kind of waiting and developing and learning. It doesn't seem like we have a guy now that's waiting in the wings to maybe potentially step up in that role, is there?
No, they don't have any young. Al Harris for defense.
Yeah, but nothing on offense.
No, nothing. And that's because the Jones want to play a certain way.
All right, would a win against the Giants mean anything?
Nope.
Yeah, agreed. It would be
Well, you know
nice.
what?
I mean,
How about this? It would mean that they didn't quit on the coach.
exactly. That's what I have written down as well. It's that we didn't quit.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is good, obviously, not quitting on your coaching staff, not quitting on the team. But I see here, I'm kind of looking at the game, 38-26, Washington Commanders over Cincinnati right now.
Yeah, we'll be last in the division, right? Oh, no,
Yeah.
Giants are 1-2. You know what's
They
funny?
are?
If Giants just had a kicker, they would be 2-1, and they'd be.
I thought they won.
Yeah, they've only won one. They were 0-2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought they beat the Commanders, and I thought they beat the Browns.
No, they've only won one game.
Oh, okay.
The Commanders beat them.
They did?
Yeah, they made 7 field goals.
Oh, okay.
Giants didn't have a kicker. They just let the guy go as doubtful and then never brought another kicker on.
Wow, it's ridiculous. Okay, back to the Giants preview here. Who will score the first touchdown?
I'm going to go with Dowdle. I thought he had a decent game, 4 yards a carry against a Ravens run defense. He was the only one that looked like he's a quality running back at all. And the rest is not good. So yeah, I'm going to say Dowdle gets a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb and kind of like a squeaky wheel gets the grease type of thing.
My thought process was Dowdle would run really well, and then Zeke would get the touchdown at the end. So I almost said Zeke, but I was like, dude, Dowdle played well against that defense while he was allowed to run. I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him the nod just so I can mention it, if nothing else.
I got you. Okay, here we are. Oh, no, excuse me. Score prediction. Mike, what's your score prediction for the game?
I'm going 26-17 Dallas. I think it's going to be really close because Giants D-line could affect our – I think we might have a couple of turnovers, because of the pass rush.
Yeah.
And they don't – our offense doesn't make anything easy for us. So you have to wait, and pass rush gets there and makes a play. But I think our defense is good enough to stop the Giants pretty well, hold them under 20. So 26-17 Dallas.
I had it, man, 27-24 Giants. That's just kind of where I'm feeling with these Cowboys right now.
The season would be over. If that happened, it would be time to talk about the draft.
Yeah. I'm just not back-to-back weeks of pathetic performances, man. It's hard to feel any sort of confidence in these Cowboys right now, man.
Yeah, Brandon Aubrey's all you got. The whole
crazy
unit, really, but Aubrey especially.
Yeah. Yes, sir. All right, Mike, here views from the sidelines. Who on offense should Dallas consider benching, and who would you like to see given more snaps?
I think the Deuce experiment is over.
Man, I hate
he doesn't get enough touches, and the touches he does get, he gets nothing positive out of them. And he doesn't bring enough as a blocker, and he hasn't really gotten involved in the receiving game. So I would sit him. I would give the touches to Dowdle and Hunter Lemke. I want to see Hunter do some more stuff. And then I would bring up Flournoy and try to work him in. Let him get some time, some plays, even if it's a handful. Tolbert hasn't really done a lot. Cooks hasn't done a lot. I do like Turpin getting involved more. He looks to be getting better and better after that one drop. So I'd like him to get more time and Flournoy add some speed to try to just add some speed to the offense.
Who on defense needs to be benched, and who would you like to see given more snaps?
I would like to get more of a rotation with Wanye playing safety. I don't think either safety's played well enough to where they should get all the snaps out there.
Yeah.
I like Dono Wilson's one of my guys, but he got blew up in coverage and he hasn't really made an impact like I hoped since his injury. Like he was really good in 2022, got hurt before the 2023 season, and he hasn't been horrible, but he hasn't been good enough to where it's like, we don't want to see these other guys. And
Right.
the run defense is so bad, you might as well get two, guys that can cover a little better out there. And I know Bell got hurt, so I'm not including him. So let's get Wanye in there on some rotational plays.
Yeah, that was kind of a popular discussion yesterday on Twitter, is talking about the safeties needing to be benched and things like that, not playing well. So I can see that. Crazy to hear Dono slander from you.
Yeah, well, I mean, he just isn't playing well enough. Like, he isn't horrible. Like, everybody makes like, oh, he can't do anything. Like, he isn't horrible. He got beat a couple of times, but on this defense, like, everybody's getting. He's like he's like the fifth or sixth worst problem on your defense right now. But it's still, when you look at it, who's coming in at DT? Who's coming in at edge? Who's going to come in at linebacker? Who's coming in at corner? Safety is the one spot where it's like, well, we got Bell and Wanye, so I wouldn't mind if Bell was healthy and they were just like, we want to give half the snaps to these guys. I wouldn't. How could you complain about it? Like, there's no way to defend our play.
Right. No, I agree with that, man. Do you know what Micah and Lawrence were arguing about by chance?
After the game, they both talked about how people weren't doing their jobs, in their press conferences. So I'm assuming it was the two good guys on defense, the three guys are quality players on this defense that are Micah Parsons, Tank, and Diggs. And so the two D linemen that are top guys and you're getting run all over are just frustrated and so they're yelling it out. They're good now. So I think it's just a frustration with the lack of ability to stop anybody.
Makes sense, man. It's just, it's like a train wreck. You can't stop watching it, but it's like, my God, man, how is this happening? Like, you hate to see it, but you can't stop looking.
Yeah, exactly. It was bad.
All right, here we are with Cardinals Corner. After a convincing win over their division rival Los Angeles Rams, the Arizona Cardinals were humbled by the Detroit Lions in Week 3 on their way to a 2010 loss, making them 1-3 on the season. From what I understand, it sounds like Kyler Murray was forcing the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr., trying to recreate that magic from Week 2 and not taking the underneath stuff. So hopefully he can right that ship. But pretty a low-scoring game between those two teams. A combined score of 30 points. That seems pretty low for those offenses.
They played a team that wasn't decimated by injury, so they lost. They're going to win next week, though. They play somebody terrible, I think.
Yeah.
I picked. Who do they play?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at their schedule.
Let me find out. Go ahead and ask the next one.
Yeah, I was going to say one win closer, hopefully, to you eating the Red Baron pizza, though, Mike. That's all I can ask for.
Oh, no. Look at me. I was dogging them. You know who they play? The 2-1 over 500 Washington Commanders.
Hey, that'll be a fun game, man.
It's no guarantees here.
No guarantees at all. And I mean, with the Commanders' performance tonight, you got to be feeling pretty good if you're a Commanders fan about heading into next week.
Yep.
I wonder what this Commanders team really is, because it seems like that their offensive coordinator hasn't had a lot of success in the NFL. They might have just caught a bad Bengals team with more name recognition than talent recognition on a bad night. But it'll be interesting to see what this season for the Commanders ends up being.
It is possible that I can't remember if I pulled the trigger on it, but I might have played Derek Carr versus the Eagles and sat Jaden Daniels against the Bengals. I'm pretty sure I did that. Because I mean, I like the dual threat of Daniels.
Yeah.
But Bengals have been a decently stingy defense at times, and the Eagles have just been giving up the goat on everything. And so I was like, you know what? This is a smart play. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But it feels gross now.
Yeah, Daniels had himself a night. All right, Mike, here we are. One word. This Cowboys team has been blank so far this season.
Bad.
Keep it simple. I went with disengaged.
Oh, that's a good word. Yeah, especially defensively.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where my mind was at. Okay, here we are with top 5. And tonight we're going to be ranking our top 5 favorite albums, mixtapes, or playlists of all time. Mike, give us number 5.
I just want to first say I couldn't narrow down a Weird Al album. I love so many of them, and what I did is, as always, I put qualifiers in my top 5. I only did, if I had one album from somebody, I wouldn't put another one, because otherwise I'd add 3 Michael Jackson albums.
Okay.
He's my favorite artist of all time, so I decided to go with just one of him, and I went through one of others, and I didn't want to pick a Weird Al album. He has so many good ones that I decided, you know what, I'm going to do these other ones that I really love, and I'll just shout out Weird Al's whole compilation because he's incredible.
I like that.
Yeah, not bad. At number 5, I got Cheers from Obi Trice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, great.
I like that.
Album. Elite.
So as always, my top 5 is more about, kind of just sentimental things like that. Of course, I do love all these albums, but I kind of rank them on where I was in life and like the memories associated with them and things like that. Again, still fantastic, amazing albums. Oddly enough, what was weird is my top 3 were like easy, like no doubters. I had a lot of trouble with 4 and 5, but number 5 on my list, Ludacris, Word of Mouth.
Oh, good one. That's the one that Timberland produced, right, for him?
Yeah.
Yeah, great album. That has a lot of good songs on it.
Ludacris, I feel like an underrated catalog and just an underrated rapper in general.
Yeah, I'm glad he parlayed that to give himself some acting gigs too, and now he's a commercial guy, so good for him, still making money.
Yeah, he's doing all right. Number 4, I mean, this guy could have been on my list a couple of times, but I didn't want to do that like you. But Eminem, the Slim Shady LP, that album really like changed. I don't want to say changed my life, but like my perception of rap and just my taste in music did something to me. I can't really pinpoint what it did, but I guess I could say it almost changed my life, man. As crazy as that may sound.
You don't understand how badly I wanted to get the Death of Slim Shady LP on this list. His move out for a 50-year-old to put out an album like he just did is unbelievable. It should win album of the year, rap album of the year. It is just a fire album all the way through. But the reason is because I said I'd only put one per. And my personal favorite Eminem album of all time is Kamikaze, that came out a couple years ago.
Out of nowhere.
Mad. Yes, he got mad because the industry didn't like his album where he kind of went after the political stuff, And he was like, oh, okay, you guys are telling me you guys are talking about rap to me, the man, the number one, the king. And he came out and just delivered an album that is just a disgusting. He just talks so much crap. I love it. So my number 4 is Kamikaze, Eminem.
Yeah, I remember it was like midnight and I'm laying on the couch. I'm, got the TV on. I'm scrolling on Twitter. All of a sudden I see Kamikaze, Eminem. I'm like, Eminem dropped a new album. I'm like, what the hell? So I immediately go and checked it out. I'm like, blown away.
I was up all night. I got the same thing. It was around midnight. It was right around then. And I put it on and I couldn't go to sleep because the first song just is like, oh my God, he's on a warpath. And he comes with the second song. You're like, oh my Lord. Like, I got to listen to this whole thing. You just go through and it was just I think there's 1 or 2 songs on the whole album that okay, I have so many songs to listen to. You can't listen to every song. Even Death of Slim Shady is like 7 or 8 songs. It's like when it comes on, I can't switch it. Like that's hard in an album to have that many of
skips.
12 to 15. It's crazy.
All right, Mike, number 3 on your list, sir.
Number 3 is it's called Believe. It's by the band Disturbed. And they have a lot of great songs, but this is the one that has Prayer on there. Is the one that really but I love Stricken. Stricken is like one of the all-time great rock songs for me. I just think it's incredible. And it's another one that you could just hit play on that album And I think it gets to like track 12 before I even consider a skip.
Yeah, you don't get that a lot these days, man.
No.
Number 3 for me, Lil Wayne, the Carter 3. I even went to the concert, the tour he did, and I got to see him perform this album live, like 5 rows from the stage. Incredible time, incredible album. It was a good place in my life when this album came out. I mean, I listened to this album for every single day, like nonstop. Honestly, maybe for about a year.
Is that Go DJ?
No, that's the Carter 2, and that one is like iconic too, man.
So that one's then Fireman and a Millie. Is that on?
A Fireman is also Carter 2, but a Millie is on the Carter 3.
Okay, a Millie's on 3. I'm a fan of Lil Wayne from back when he was one of the hot boys, like 17, 18.
Oh yeah,
that's my favorite song is. So I mix up some of his newer stuff or newer. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff when he was on his own and solo, I mix them up. But all his albums have been awesome.
Dude, Mixtape Wheezy, like his lyricism and just his delivery and flow and wordplay, just really iconic, man.
He's a monster.
He truly is. Number 2 on my list, I'm going with my first ever mixtape. It's called the Rodeo Mix. When I had my first ever car, Zuzu Rodeo, I was one of the first in the crew to have a car, and I had like the sound system and stuff. And shout out to my guy Josh. I doubt he's listening to the show, but he created a rodeo mix, and this like dominated the stereo for like probably our entire sophomore year in high school. But it had a lot of bangers, man. It, like, just a good mixtape has like songs that get you hyped, songs that kind of not necessarily make you sad, but are like slower, things like that, and just songs that are more poppy, catchy, fun songs. Just an amazing mix of those, man. I'll never forget that album, or that mixtape, rather.
I didn't have any mixtapes on mine because the ones that I had were probably it just related to stuff that you don't want to put up on the pod. So like I just did regular albums.
Like Boner Jams type of thing. Mike, number 2 on your list.
Number 2 on my list, Chronic 2001, Dr. Dre.
I almost had that in my top 5, dude. That can't.
It was like the introduction to Eminem, really, like, the Forgot About Dre, and it just had so many great songs and so many great rappers were on it. Snoop and Corrupt and Daz, and I believe Exhibit was in at that time still. Eminem, it was an unbelievable album, just incredible. So that album, sorry to cut you off, man, but that album, Slim Shady LP, and Ludacris's first album, Disturbing the Peace, dominated my freshman year in high school. That's elite. I don't want to talk about where I was when that happened.
Boner Jams, baby, Boner Jams.
Boner Jams.
Number 1 on your list, Mike.
Thriller, Michael Jackson. It's the number 1 album of all time. I don't even. You could just listen to every song. It made MTV. I mean, a perfect album, and the guy was just an incredible musician.
You'll be happy to know, Mike, a few weeks ago, me and my son, we spend the mornings together before I take him to grandma's house and I go to work and stuff. But we were playing with his toys, and I've been trying to, instead of like turning on TV just to put on, let him watch TV and play with his toys, I've been trying to introduce him to music. And I had the pleasure of introducing him to Michael Jackson, and he enjoyed it. So that was a good dad moment for me. And Thriller was the album that was like on the Michael Jackson, dominated the Michael Jackson playlist. Great
dad. And I'm proud your son has taste as well.
Yeah, he was dancing, man. He tries to dance. It's fun. It's fun to watch him get into music and enjoy it, man, for sure. But here we are, Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was saying that's the guy. MJ's the guy. If you want him to dance, put it on.
Seriously, he really is. All right, number 1 on my list is probably cheesy. I don't care. But my honeymoon and wedding playlist from me and my wife's, obviously wedding and honeymoon. I add songs to it all the time that make me think of her, think of us. But it's a good mix. It has a good combination of like fun songs and then romantic songs, and things like that, love songs, stuff like that. So that's
Is she
a list that
listening?
always.
She's listening
No,
right
she's
now.
not listening. She never watches the pod, unfortunately.
I'm just teasing you, man.
Well, Mike, I know we didn't plan on having fun, but top 5 always kind of brings out the best in the shows, even when they're not fun to talk about.
That's why it's a good way to end it. It kind of gets your mind off of what just happened.
Yes, sir. It really does. Well, Mike, I enjoyed the discussion as always. Before we get you out of here, where can we find you on Twitter?
CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we will see you guys next week.
Look at this, dude. Remember what I told you?